Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be diving into two more expense categories to continue our series all about tax write-offs. So if you're interested in learning more about postage and shipping, and then also editing services if you're a wedding photographer or a senior or family photographer, stay tuned and keep listening. Hi, I'm Heather, a wedding and senior photographer based in Pennsylvania, and on this channel I help other photographers manage and understand their taxes as a small business owner, streamline their system so that they can spend more time with family and friends, and I also love to give a little sneak peek into my life here and there. And like I mentioned on today's episode, we are going to be continuing our series all about tax write-offs. We're actually getting really close to the end. We only have 2 episodes left, so 5 more categories that we're going to be breaking down. And today we're specifically going to be talking about postage and shipping, and then also editing services. Now that second one has a little bit of a stipulation with it that doesn't quite classify it as an actual IRS considered tax write-off category, but I want to bring it up and I'm going to explain it all to you shortly. But first, let's jump into shipping and postage because it's a pretty simple and self-explanatory category, but I just want to mention it on here so that you know that you can deduct any of those expenses. Now, those expenses can be anything that has to do with shipping or postage directly related to something in your business, something that you're sending out for your business. So a very good example of that is if you send client gifts to someone that books with you, then the shipping, the envelopes or the boxes or the postage, or if you use a PO box, any of those types of things, if it's directly related to your business and considered necessary and ordinary for your business to run, then it can fall underneath this tax category and be used for a write-off and then a deduction in your tax filing. But if it has something to do directly with a good that you sell, so those costs of goods, for example, albums or prints, any of the shipping that directly relates to those products needs to go under the cost of goods category. So that's the only time that an expense does not fall under this postage and shipping category if it is directly related to you sending out a product that your client has purchased from you, so a physical product that you're sending directly to your customer, then that's going to fall under your cost of goods, those COGS that we talked about previously, and will not go under this postage and shipping category. But anything else that has to do with your business directly and is an expense for postage and shipping then can go under this category and be used as a deduction. So make sure that you're keeping track of any of those stamps that you have to purchase or envelopes that you have to get or boxes that you have to use for packing those gifts. Make sure that you're keeping those receipts so that you can categorize and use those expenses towards your deductions. All right, the next category we're going to chat about is editing services. Now, I hinted that this one's a little bit of a special category, but I wanted to bring it up to you all because it's something that I use in my business and is really helpful just for me to know where my business stands when it comes to my expenses. So editing services is not actually an IRS category that they use for tax write-offs, but I have it as a separate category for myself so that when I look at my profit and loss sheet that my bookkeeper does for me, I can then see easily how much I am spending on an editor each year and can compare and contrast that with how much I'm making per wedding and can see if it is smart for me as an expense for my business or if I'm paying too much for it. So that is something that I do personally in my business with my bookkeeper. But then when it's time to do taxes, she then takes all of those expenses that fall under this editing category and puts it towards one of my other tax categories, my tax expense categories, so that it's actually something that the IRS has and uses as a write-off. So there's two different categories that the editing services can fall under when it comes to filing your taxes. And those two are either independent contractor or dues and subscriptions. And the way to figure out which one it falls under is to figure out who you pay to do those services. So if you pay someone that is a small business owner, and they're considered a private editor most of the time, then you're going to categorize that under your contract labor category because they are going to be considered an independent contractor. And so if you pay them over $600 in a year, you're then going to do a 1099 for them as well. Now, on the flip side, if you use an editing system such as Imagen AI and you pay for that subscription, then those expenses are going to fall under dues and subscriptions because it's not an actual individual person. So you're not paying them as an independent contractor. It's a company, and it's going to be a due that you have to pay to be able to use those services or that software. So just make sure you understand who you're paying and what you use for your editing services, whether it's an actual person or a company or a software, and then that determines which category it falls under when it comes to your tax write-offs. I hope you found that helpful. Now, if you have any questions specifically or a specific scenario about your editor and you're not sure which category it should fall under, please feel free to drop a question down in the comments. Also, if you have any questions about postage and shipping, I would be happy to answer any of them for you. And just in general, if you have any questions, you may actually see something pop up in one of my future videos if you drop a question down in the comments. In addition, make sure you subscribe because each week I am going to be coming to you with more tips when it comes to managing and understanding your taxes. And just a reminder, down below in the description, you can find my freebie, my most common tax expense categories broken down for you so that you can easily reference them as you start working on categorizing your expenses throughout the year to make it easier for you when tax season comes around each year. So make sure you go grab that, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks, guys.